work for Gaia GPS, which is the backcountry navigation app. Here's
Familiar
our
with the name.
logo right here.
That's
So,
awesome. I love it.
yeah,
So, I mean, you do that, but then I know you're also a licensed attorney in Montana and Nevada. Is that right?
that's true. I'm licensed in 2 states. I worked as an attorney for 15 years before I gave that up to join Gaia GPS.
Wow. I mean, was hiking or the outdoors, was it something you've always loved being in Montana, or was it something that later you developed this love and thought, hey, maybe I want to do something with this and completely walk away from like the attorney side of stuff? How did all that kind of work out?
Well, first and foremost, I worked in the outdoor industry growing up. So since the age of 17, I worked outdoors. I was a ski patroller at a large Lake Tahoe resort for 10 years, and I did that full time. And during the summers, for a while, I was a river guide in the Grand Canyon. And then I gave that up to become a wilderness ranger in Desolation Wilderness. And I think I spent 7 summers there. And I thought, I probably should go to college after 10 years of not going to college after high school. Right around the age of 27 or 28, I wound up going to college and I got a journalism degree. And I was working at a newspaper and I was covering courts. And I saw this really amazing woman give this opening statement in a high profile murder case. And I thought, I want to do that. And I wound up applying to go to law school right then, took the LSAT and went to law school here in Montana.
Mm.
And I was fortunate enough to pick Montana as a place to go to law school, where, I was able to kind of merge my outdoor interests with academics. And I stayed here in Montana. So, and I worked for the Attorney General's office as a prosecutor for 15 years. So, and the law has been great. I don't regret any part of that. I think I did some really important work over the years, but my passions have always lied in the outdoors and in so many different forms. Hiking is one portion of it and backpacking, but generally skiing in all of its forms, skate skiing, downhill skiing, backcountry skiing, all the forms of skiing I love. I'm proficient in whitewater kayaking, and windsurfing has been a passion of mine. For a while I rock climbed back in the early years. So I really have chased the outdoors.
I was going to say, you sound like the ultimate outdoors woman here, covering the pretty big spectrum of outdoor stuff. That's amazing.
Yeah, I really have never been really super focused on one outdoor discipline. I've always loved many, and I think that's what's so fun about it.
You said, you work for the district attorney, you're doing all this stuff. When did this transition come when you hit that point of maybe this isn't the thing I want to do full time anymore?
I started at Gaia on January 1 of this year. In the fall or so, I decided to make the transition. I actually had been developing a side of that. I have a side business called Hiker Midnight, and I was doing more personal coaching of people who want to learn how to backpack. And maybe they don't have a friend or a family member who can teach them. I was teaching people, remotely how to get into backpacking and kind of planning trips for them and those sorts of things. And then it turned into this thing where I was organizing women's trips into the backcountry. And so I have you'll notice on my Instagram, I have a lot of pictures of groups of women out in the wilderness. And that's something that I've been doing for the last 5 years is kind of a side gig to my lawyering. It's kind of just taken over more and more of my life. Right. And the lawyering part had gotten smaller and smaller. And somewhere in the fall, I decided I was ready to make the transition back to outdoor oriented work, I guess I would say. I'm also currently still and have been for the last 3 years a backpacking guide for Andrew Skirka.
So I know you had the Hiker Midnight project. Did that develop out of that, or was it a simultaneous thing? How did you become a backpacking guide?
So I was doing the Hiker Midnight stuff, and then Andrew Skirka had posted, he was looking to round out his guiding roster with some female influence. So I just thought, well, shoot, I'll just apply to that. And lo and behold, he called me back, and I thought, well, that's a long shot. But he called back, and we hit it off, and I've been guiding for him. And we have trips planned this summer. I hope they don't get canceled.
What kind of reactions do you see once you get them out there, and if it's new to them or they're not really experienced and they start to get a feel for it? How do you start to see a change in them or their perception of the outdoors or themselves? Like, do you see those kind of shifts in personality as people get more into hiking and outdoors and become more proficient?
I've taken a number of people out on their first time camping, and we do it in a backpack setting. These are people who have never even car camped or anything like that. And, I think what I notice is I see a lot of anxiety while we're leading up to the trip, and just kind of anticipation and anxiety of what this is going to be like, and a lot of different concerns and worries. Usually those all evaporate after our first day on the trail and maybe our first night. A lot of people don't sleep the first night. As the days go on, they get more comfortable, and I love that. I love introducing people to the outdoors.
Right.
It's always been a passion of mine, and it's so fun to watch somebody go from like a brand new backpacker into taking it into their own, and watching them go from doing group trips with me through Hiker Midnight and actually flying and doing those things on their own. Everybody should, find their friends who might have just even an inkling of interest, just to introduce them to public lands. And
if someone had never been to Montana, they were going to come and they wanted to tackle some hikes, they were, decent hiker, where would be your top 3 places that you've hiked that you would say, you got to check these places out if you're going to be here?
Oh, definitely Glacier, right?
Okay.
Everybody needs to see Glacier National Park. If you want to just kind of go off the cuff and go to a place that doesn't have permitting, definitely the Beartooth Wilderness, which is just north of Yellowstone National Park. And then there's another place that I think I'll keep secret.
Okay.
And then there's other spots too, all throughout Montana. There's the Lee Metcalf Wilderness over by Big Sky.
Mm-hmm.
And the Pintlers over by Anaconda. Those are wonderful mountain ranges to hike. The Bitterroot, it's just chock full of amazing scenery and hiking.
What do you think are some of the biggest lessons or experiences that you've learned throughout the years that you kind of carry with you now?
Number one, I'm a huge planner. You don't catch me going on a backpack trip or anything that's got some substantial commitment to it. You wouldn't catch me going there to a new place without fully researching it. And I'm talking like, that's how I spend my evenings. I look at maps, I look at paper maps, I get on my app, I get on Gaia GPS, and I literally study my route. I get on Google and I look for YouTube videos on it so I can see like what creek crossings might look like.
Right.
I really give myself kind of a leg up on what's coming by just researching the heck out of where I'm going. It doesn't matter if it's just like somewhere nearby or somewhere super far away. I'm going to like research it so much.
I see it sometimes where people, when they're ready for a hike or a trip, whatever it may be, they find the name of the place they're going and the coordinates or the trailhead, and they just head out and they figure, I'll figure it out when I get there. And you don't really know what you're walking into. It's better to be a little more prepared.
It's way better. And let me tell you why, really, because it allows you to carry a lighter pack, right? Like, what's the most heavy thing that you carry is water. So if you go online before you go, or you look at your maps before you go, your paper maps, and you discover like your route actually has water every 3 miles, right. Why would you carry more than a liter? So right. That's kind of another tip I've learned. People carry too much water. And it makes your pack really heavy. It totally does. And here you are passing water all day long. So if you plan and you're prepared and all those kinds of things, you can really lighten your pack up.
Here's how we're going to close it out. You're about to be on the lightning round. I'm going to give you the questions. We're going to rip through them. You answer them as quick as you can. Are you ready?
Sure, I'll try.
Here we go. Favorite season to hike?
Definitely late summer.
What is your go-to hiking snack that you won't leave home without?
I like to bring an avocado for day one.
What is one pre-hike or pre-backpacking ritual that you always do?
Camp at the trailhead if I can.
What is your ultimate hiking or backpacking soundtrack song?
You remember that group like in the 90s, like when Pearl Jam and Soundgarden mashed up and they had all their long hair and it was like Chris Cornell and like Eddie Vedder? I'm going hungry. Yeah, that's my soundtrack because I'm always hungry.
That is a good pick. Very solid pick. And here's the last one. I think you're going to be good at this one. Top 3 tips that every hiker or outdoor person should know before they head out the door.
Well, I think I hit the one about the study up, right? So I definitely espouse that for sure. Like, know your maps, bring your maps. Don't go out there without your maps. Know your route. My number 2 would be probably choose your partners wisely. And by that, I mean, make sure that you are both on the same page. If you're the kind of person that wears trail runners, has a 10-pound base weight, and then you pick your partner and your partner has like a 40-pound base weight and wearing big, huge leather boots. And I'm not saying which one is better, the proper way to do it. But what I'm saying is you both need to be on the same page, because if you're not, you two both are going to be miserable. Okay, here's my other secret tip. When you're in the gas station,
I like this one already.
like when you're in the gas station or like a fast food restaurant, just like stash away some of those single serving hot sauces and the mayo and the relish. Always put a few extra in your pocket. Don't tell anybody.